Hi everyone, this is Ryan Hoyme, aka Massage Nerd, and today I'm at the Alliance for Massage Therapy Education Conference. And today I have Angie Dubis. Hi.
Hi.
So, how did you get involved in massage?
Well, actually, I got started doing massage when I was about 4 years old. My father had back pain, and so from when I was a little girl, he would say, "Hey, kid, come over here, rub my back," and I'd go over, and I didn't have enough pressure. I couldn't get deep enough, so then he'd have me stand on his back, or he'd have me do like a downward dog with my fingers in his back, like pushing off my toes and stuff, and so over, through just growing up. I think I was probably about 8 the first time I released a trigger point. I mean, I had no idea what it was. I just knew when I pushed on that spot on my dad's back, it twitched, and I thought that was really cool. And so then I graduated with my bachelor's in psychology, and I moved to Detroit with my sister, and I was selling cars, actually, and in Detroit, which was interesting. And I just wasn't, it wasn't what I wanted to do. I wasn't really happy, and I was, 22, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And so I wrote a big, long list of all the possible things I could be. And there was, astronaut and kind of crazy, kind of far out things. And then I went back through the list, and I marked off everything that just wasn't feasible, or was too expensive, or would take too much school, or whatnot. And I ended up with, I think, physical therapy school, massage therapy school, and a couple of other, random things, and getting a master's in counseling, and the only one on the list that I could do right now was massage school. And I looked around in Detroit, and I happened to live about 10 miles from Irene's Myomassology Institute in Southfield, Michigan, and I drove over there that afternoon and checked out the program, and they had a pay-as-you-go program. So I could pay $40 a week. I went to class on Tuesday and Thursday night, and Saturday and Sunday afternoons for anatomy and physiology, and I started the next week.
Wow. And hooked ever since then, right?
Yeah, that was it. I was done.
And was there any instructors that you consider more mentors and stuff while you're going through massage school?
Well, my instructor was Phil Kertel, and he was phenomenal. But I was very lucky in that Irene was at the school, and she was, I don't know how old she was when I was there. She had to be in her 70s. And she would, I remember one time she walked in our classroom, and it was set up where there was, two table rows, and there was probably 8 or 9 tables per row, so, 18 tables or so in the room. And I was face down on the table that was the farthest away from the door. And my partner was working on my neck, shoulders, and my hip was really hurting me. And all of a sudden I heard Irene say, no, work on her right hip. And I looked up, and she was looking straight at me. I go, are you talking to my partner? And she goes, yes. I go, how do you see that? She goes, oh, I don't see it, I can feel it. I was like, oh, this is 23, probably. And so she would pop in the room every once in a while. I never had a lot of just one-on-one conversations with her, but every time she walked in the room, something amazing like that would happen. And she was just, it was unbelievable, the connectedness that she had with what was going on around her, and it was truly inspirational. And she was, like I said, in her 70s and still doing probably 5-6 massages a day, every day, teaching classes, had this whole school going, had kids. It was even at 23, where you have no concept, it was inspiring.
Yeah.
And also I remember one time she worked on me, and she was doing something up in my neck, and there was this crazy energy trapped in my knee. And she did something, and she goes, no. And she had this, I can't do it, but she had this kind of accent. And she's like, what is going on with your knee? And I was like, how do you know these things? And she taught a class one time as well, like a healing touch class. And that was the first time I ever felt energy. And I remember having my partner sit there, and I had to close my eyes, and my partner had to close her eyes. And we were to, one at a time, kind of, just go over as close to the body as we could with our eyes closed, just feeling heat. And we were just supposed to try to not touch the body based on gauging the heat coming from the body, right? And I got to my partner's hip, and my hand literally flew, without, in my effort, just went, away. I was like, what was that? And my partner's eyes popped open really big. She's like, did you feel that? I was like, yeah. Like, what was that? And Irene goes, that's energy. And I was like, okay, I get it.
Yep.
You know, you talk about energy and all these things, but until you feel it, you don't get it.
Yep.
And like that moment, like I got it and I could never not get it again, you know. It was like, so it's I feel very blessed that I went to a school that, you know, at the time that was like 15 years ago. So it was very structural based, very anatomy and physiology based, but very energetic at the same time. And so it was intense. It was wonderful.
And how did you get into the education side?
I knew that I wanted to teach when I was in massage school. I just had such amazing teachers, and the whole class goes through such a transformation, you know. And I think too, because I was 23, and you know, between 23 and 25, I think a lot happens in people's lives anyway, like concept of self and concept of others and things like that. You start to develop and realize it's just not all about you.
Yeah.
And so I think that naturally going probably through that process because of my age in combination with being in massage school at the same time, which probably facilitated that happening faster. I just knew. I was like, this is awesome. You get to teach people how to help other people feel better, and at the same time, you get to help facilitate this personal growth within individuals as well. And I just thought it was cool. You know, I think I was very appreciative for that experience myself, and so I was interested in propelling that forward.
Yeah, and conferences, you're starting to get on that circuit now to teach at conferences now. So,
right, yeah, I taught at the American Massage Conference in Atlanta, and I'm teaching at the Canadian Massage Conference coming up, and I'm pretty sure I'll be teaching at American Massage Conference next year as well.
Okay,
awesome.
all
for Biotone.
Biotone, yep. So you've been with Biotone for a while then, or?
Yeah, about 9 years.
Wow.
Give or take, yeah. Doing continuing ed and blogging and just consulting. I mean, we just came out with the controlled glide massage cream, which is awesome. And it was really exciting for me because I got to be a part of that process. She would formulate it, and I would get to go test it on clients and say, oh, you know, can we do a little of this or can we do a little of that? And it was just really rewarding to kind of be a part of that process. And you know, now it's like I'm emotionally attached to that product.
It should have your name on it, right?
No, nothing like that. But it's just really, you know, I feel a part of it, and it's kind of, because of that, it's kind of designed to the work that I like to do, you know, like kind of naturally. So it suits me.
And then at FSMTA convention, I bought some oil from you. It's a tea tree. Is it the pink stuff, right? It's the new stuff you guys have out now. It's kind of pinkish color oil.
I don't know. I have to see the bottle.
Yeah,
because I wasn't at FSMTA.
Yeah, but it's a really new product you guys have out, but it's kind of more of a pinkish.
Oh, are you talking about the healthy benefits?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But I brought some back for the other instructor that works with me because she's so obsessed with that color, and she's been using.
That's what you're talking about. The healthy benefits.
Yeah, because she's been using that on a regular basis, and that's the only thing she will use now.
It's the gel.
Yeah, gel stuff. Yeah, so she just loves it.
Awesome. Yeah, that is.
I
was thinking essential oil for some reason. I'm like, pink essential oil?
No. It's getting late.
Because it's a gel, so that's why I wasn't clicking.
And then for your online education, how did you decide to get into that?
Well, that was the type of thing too where it was about 2 years ago, and I had a full-time practice but in La Jolla, California, and a lot of my clients were mortgage brokers, real estate agents, bankers, that type of thing. So they really started feeling the squeeze, and as the economy was getting kind of rocky, then it was like, you know, middle of 2008 probably, 2009, I don't know, but and one of my clients, he got done with the massage, and he got dressed, and he came out, and he goes, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he took me, we walked in my office, and he goes, "I don't want to scare you, but there's a lot happening that the mainstream isn't really aware of yet." but there's in banking and things are getting kooky. He's like, I can't tell you what it is because we don't really understand, but it's getting kind of kooky. And you need to start thinking about what you're going to do if your clients don't come and see you as often.
Wow, that was nice. Heads up.
Yeah, it was. It was a big heads up. And I had already noticed that people, like, there was a lot more stress and, like, the energy was shifting. And again, like, I'm seeing, 4 people a day, give or take, and they're all, like, in the financial business of some fashion, you know? So mortgage brokers were getting a little shaky and real estate agents were getting a little shaky. And so it's like, it was a function of my clientele that I was like, I knew something was going on, and then he just like kind of clarified it for me a little bit. And I was like, yeah, I think you're right. So I went through the process kind of before the market really took a deep dive of, downsizing, minimizing. I moved my office, I moved my house, I, moved a lot of things to reduce my overhead. And in the process of doing that, I also started noticing that my classes that I was teaching, I was working for cross-country education at the time. I was traveling around the country teaching my fascial matrix class, and my class numbers were going down. And I was like, okay, what's going on? And so then I started thinking, okay, well, if the economy, if something is going on and people are starting to have a hard time, they still have to get their continuing ed hours. And my class is real heady. There's a lot of like science and research and stuff in it, plus the manual therapy techniques. So I thought, if I can take the intellectual component and I can put it online, and students learn that first before they come into the hands-on class, then I can reduce the amount of like travel time and overhead and all those other types of things. And I thought, well, maybe too, if I do that, when people come to the hands-on class, they'll be better prepared. And that's exactly what I found out. I put a couple classes on a thing called Podcast.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yep.
Podcast.com.
Yep.
And it's a Moodle-based program developed by a guy, Gary Guile, in San Diego. And I just really liked it, and it's cool. You can put classes on it for free, and you can offer it for free, or you can charge for them, and they take a little cut.
Yep.
So I put my classes on there first, and just did them locally, and found out that students, when they came into the class, they were more prepared, and the dialogue was more in depth, and there was more cohesiveness. And so then I thought, okay, well, do I want to give Gary a cut for the rest of my life? So no, not really. So I decided to build my own, and I worked on that with my brother.
Do you see the future going to more online stuff then for continuing ed, or?
I mean, I think it depends on the class. I think that you can teach. I think mastery comes from practice. So I think that you teach principles in any class that you do, that you're teaching a principle. And I think if you have somebody who has palpation skills, who has a good understanding of physiology and anatomy, and who is self-motivated, that those people can learn anything anywhere. Give them a written document, give them a book, give them an online class, whatever.
Yeah.
Those folks, they have the basic components they need to learn. But there's other folks who are more, they need more of that instruction, someone to say, hey, put your hand here or move that there. So I think that there's going to be a certain percentage of population, especially like the younger kids that are coming up, who are going to gear more toward online education. But I think that you're going to have another sect of people who aren't as comfortable with online education, or who need that in face-to-face class. So I think we're going to see more of it. And I think as we develop more of it, people will, build it and they will come, you know. But I think, too, that the key is going to be for students to find the right learning environments for them. And I think that that's where success comes in. Because there's people who take great online learning classes and they hate them because it's just not the right format for them. So I think that that's the key. I think that the student needs to understand themselves, and they need to choose their educational opportunities based on their personal needs.
And are you a member of the Alliance then?
Of course.
So why did you decide to be a member then?
Well, I was building massage educator, and I knew that I needed to network. I'd been teaching around the country, and I'd been working with Biotone, but I had pretty low profile. I hadn't networked a lot with therapists. I networked more with students, And so I got the alliances. They mailed me a thing. They must have bought a list from NCTB or something, and I got their mailer. And the conference was in like 3 weeks. And I opened it and I read it, and I was like, I have to go to this. I have to. This is where I want to go. what a great way to start heading that direction. And when I say where I wanted to go, being involved in the future of massage, the massage profession, understanding, getting to know more about the politics that happens in our professions. You know, as a educator and a therapist up to that point in time, I had no idea of the level of I don't even know the right word, but the bureaucracy of, you know, licensing in different states and insurance, and, you know, I had worked for companies that sent me places, so I'd never had to do like CE broker in Florida, or I never had to do, and I didn't know any of that stuff. So, and I wanted to learn, and it just seemed like, well, here's a bunch of educators getting together. They probably know, you know? So I mostly did it because I thought that it would be a great way to network with other educators and that I would be able to learn from them. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, the Alliance was the beginning of sort of my convention tour over the last several years. And so many of those people that I met in Park City, I saw at all the other conventions. And because it's really quite quaint, you know, it's right now it's a very solid group of very motivated individuals who have sort of early adopted this idea of let's all work together. And so it was just really great to be a part of that, and then moving forward, learning about how our industry works in the back end.
Yep. And it's so nice, some of the CE providers here are taking classes, and they said they haven't taken any for many years, but they're actually turning the tables and actually taking classes now, and they're just loving it.
Yeah, no, it's like, great. And all the classes are wonderful. Ben Benjamin's class was phenomenal.
Yeah, I call him the walking, talking dictionary, so.
It really is. I've never had an opportunity to meet him, and that was the other thing too with the Alliance. Last year I walked in the room, and I think I owned a book by like 40 people in the room. There's like 110 people or so attending, and I owned a book by like 40 of them. I literally for a day walked around, I was like, hi, nice to meet you. You know, like, it was great. So this year coming back with Biotone is fabulous. To be able to represent a company that I loved and products that I love, and hang out with fabulous people and talk about the future of our profession. And, I mean, the standards, coming up with competency standards for educators. I went through a teacher training program very early on. I knew I wanted to teach massage. I'd never taught before, so I just assumed that I needed someone to teach me how to teach. It never occurred to me that I could just like go get a job teaching massage, you know, with a couple of years of experience doing massage. So I took a teacher training program at the Arizona School of Integrative Studies in Prescott, Arizona. And it was a 350-hour program, but I had to sit through I think it was a 700-hour program. So I went to class every day for a full 700-hour program. So I really went to massage school again. And then I had coursework involved with writing lesson plans and teaching and whatnot. So it was pretty intensive.
Do you want to know what happened 10 years ago when I started teaching?
What?
Syllabus, and here teach the next day.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the way it was back in the day, but that's extreme standards. I mean, that'd be nice to.
I think I went, that was in 2000. No, it was 99 when I took my teacher training program.
Wow.
Yeah, 99.
Yeah.
So, and then I didn't, and then in Flagstaff, they just happened. I had just finished my teacher training program, and they opened a school in Flagstaff, like a mile from my house.
Because the school I work for too, I basically started the massage program there too. So I was the first one they hired for that, so they had no idea what to even look for too and stuff. But I had 3 years of experience in the field at least and stuff. But that was the main criteria and stuff. But I rolled in. I remember when they opened the Phoenix Therapeutic Massage College in Flagstaff, and I went in and I was like, you need to hire me. I'm trained. I can teach. They were like, we already have a teacher. Thank you very much. And I was like, no, you need to here's my card. Here's my resume. You need to hire me. I can see you probably bring in a lot of humor in your classes too, right?
I try. I think what I try to do is I try to keep a good feel of what's going on, so that if somebody's left behind, I kind of bring them in.
Yeah.
But if everybody's rolling with me, I try to take it as far as I can. So I do try to bring in a lot of humor, but I really try to pack in as much as I can without like overload.
Yeah.
And so it's a very gentle balance.
So there's no
to be
deer
able
caught
to
in the
do
headlights
that.
kind of.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. You see that, you stop and
Yeah.
slow down and,
Yeah.
and step back a little bit. But I think that I got very lucky because what happened at Phoenix Therapeutic Massage College is that the person who came to teach their core program, which was, we had a 600 and I think it was 650, and but it was modular. So it was, we had basically it was a color grid. So anyway, she came up from Phoenix and she just didn't like Flagstaff, and she was like, I'm outie, and she left. And they were like, and so they called me, can you come in next week? I was like, heck yeah, I can come in next week. so the program was set up where we'd have whatever 15 or 20 students that would come in to a class. And so white mod was your Swedish and like your real basic principles. So those 15 or 20 students would be in white mod, and then they went into red mod. Well, while they're in red mod, another, however many students we could accommodate were in white mod. So when red mod moved into yellow mod, white mod joined them.
Oh.
And then,
so kind of like a mentorship, would you say? Or
no, it was because each mod only lasted 30 days.
Okay.
So it's like you would have for 30 days, you would have reflexology, anatomy and physiology, and sports. And then the next module would be like neuromuscular and pregnancy or chair or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they learned basic, and these guys have been in school for a month. These guys have just started. Now these guys have finished a month, and these guys have finished a whole month, and these guys have finished white. And they come in and join them, and then they go to the next, and then white joins them, and then they go to the next. So every month you had 3 or 4 students graduating, and you had 3 or 4 students joining. And so there was, in every class, there were students who'd only been in school for, had completed 30 days, and other ones who had completed 9 months. And so it was a lot of dynamic,
Yep.
And you had students who were 18, and you had students who were 50,
Yep.
So it was definitely trial by fire.
Yep.
For my first teaching position, I don't know that it was, the easiest route I could have chosen, but I think that it really prepared me to learn to deal with a wide variety of students at a wide variety of levels. And I think that it really taught me to pay attention to my students, because you got students who are there for 9 months, they want information. They're more knowledgeable, they're more comfortable, they've gone through this process, interpersonal process. These guys are just starting that process. So there certainly was some some mentoring involved that just naturally occurred in the student group. But I really had to keep track, because I had to make sure that I wasn't over teaching to the students who had just come out, but I wasn't under teaching the students who had been there for a while. And that's a very gentle balance to keep.
Yep. And what's the easiest way for people to get a hold of you then?
Probably by email, Angie@massageeducator.com.
Okay. Or just educator. What's your full website then?
My website is massageeducator.com.
Okay.
And then obviously biotone.com.
Okay.
And then there's my phone number is 858-752-3388.
Okay.
I had to think about it.
Okay. Always a pleasure, Angie.
Always a pleasure.
Yep.
Thank you so
Yep.
much.
Thanks, everyone.